help the boy find his answers. And I failed. What's my role in all this now?
Tyr, you're at the center of this. You always have been.
Does it hurt?
Oh, this? Only when I worry.
I doubt that very much.
It's the truth. And not just because of prophecies. No one has ever... I know you feel that way now. I've lost myself. But something beyond that.
And what is that?
Purpose. Purpose is the path that leads you to yourself.
So you would have me accept my fate. Lead your armies into war. Secure your vengeance.
If securing our justice is not your purpose,
How would Atreus get to Asgard?
I'm sorry, but you'd have to ask Odin. He's got control of every path. I know how highly you esteem our expertise on such things, so I'm sure that's disappointing. He's just been one step ahead of us.
Hang on! I got something for you. Sindri!
Coming!
Before you go traipsing off into the dawn, I thought you'd like to have this back. Well, don't go getting too cheery about it. But you're welcome.
I've collected what we need to find the Norns. Shall we go?
Madam Neathog? Madam Neathog, where have you gone?
Neathog. I suspect we may have consequences to look forward to.
Squirrel.
Ah, Master Kratos, my apologies. Madam Neathog's disappearance weighs heavily on my mind.
She a friend of yours?
Less a friend than another longtime tenant of the tree. She was here even before I arrived, and that was ages ago. To even think something could keep her away from her babies. Terrible, just terrible.
Alfheim? What's there?
We still have unfinished business there. We found a Hofgufa out in the Barrens, my lady. In terrible pain. We freed it, but there's another intern somewhere beneath the Forbidden Sands.
A Hofgufa? I haven't seen one since I was a child.
And what else? There's still that secret elven library in Alfheim.
Lead the way.
Completed some new blueprints. I think you'll find them useful.
Mimir, what did you mean when you said Freya was not exactly a guest of the Aesir?
I meant by the time they burned it, he'd been a prisoner for some time. It was a mob of lesser Aesir, bitter and short-sighted, who tied him up and lit him aflame as punishment for the sabotage they imagined him guilty of. Obviously, he survived. In fact, he used the opportunity to escape. But such an affront made war inevitable.
Freya certainly wasn't the same after that. At least for a while. His carefree ways were replaced with nightmares, paranoia, and lashing out. It doesn't excuse what he said at my wedding, but I do understand where his anger is. Much of the sand has been cleared away, but another storm rages beyond that pass, which must mean...
Another Hafgufa! Freya, there's something I've always wanted to ask. What was it Hrimthur whispered to you?
Who?
Hrimthur, the son of Thormur, the stonemason, who disguised himself and built Asgard's wall.
Oh, yes. One of the many occasions Odin saw fit to involve me in a wager without my consent. I wish I could say that was the worst of his husbandly habits.
What wager?
I've told this story, brother.
And now she may tell her own.
There isn't that much to tell. I knew nothing of it at first, surely because Odin didn't expect to lose the bet. A mysterious mason had to build the entire wall in 3 turns of the season.
2! It was 2!
And if he was late, he'd be owed nothing. But if he succeeded, he was promised an audience with the queen. Or so I learned one day when Odin burst into our bedchambers, raging and half-drunk before noon, telling me to get dressed and go see what the mason wants. So, off I went, not knowing what had truly been promised or expected. Dagger stashed in my robe for emergency.
Let this wait. Stay alert.
Odd. It looks as though the Light Elves sealed off this section of the Barrens. Why?
Luckily for us, a very considerate goddess has enhanced our magic chisel, and we can unseal it.
My, that is lucky.
The forbidden sands lay beyond.
Contested territory, according to Bela. And another storm to endure.
I remember when Freya and I traveled to this realm as children. The desert was healthy and full of life back then. I can't help but fear that era has ended for good and our efforts here are futile.
It's a fair concern. Healing this land will take more than a pair of singing Hafgufa. But I have to believe, in the long run, we're doing right by Alfheim'ın. Well, best we start looking for a way underground.
Keep a lookout for a cave! I see an entrance!
Jewelry.
Oh? Put it on one of my horns. Let's see if I can pull it off.
No.
An elven library.
An archive of knowledge.
No sign of the Light Elves.
For now.
Maybe they've left for the day, and we can browse at our leisure.
Look here. These texts alone are not enough to end the Elven War, but restricting their access only serves those who wish to prolong it.
Taking a page out of Odin's book.
Aye, quite the advantage for the Light Elves.
This book is sealed, but there is an inscription. The console.
Big Veer spoke of an exile of the same name. Odds are he'd like a gander at that particular text.
All this knowledge of their ancestors, their shared history, poetry. Just sitting here, forgotten. What a waste.
So, these are the Valine schematics, eh?
You know of him.
Aye. One of the most gifted dwarven smiths around. Until he developed a conscience, anyhow. Shield strike! Nasty hit! You all right, brother?
Shield strike now!
She thinks she's protecting them by hiding all this knowledge away.
Our ally wishes to read this journal. We are taking the book.
I'm impressed. Thought you were going to end her.
When last we traveled here, after Faye passed, I killed an elf of great importance. The ramifications were dire for his people. I do not wish to make the same mistake twice.
Right side, brother! Good hit, brother!
Light elf architecture. It's massive.
Locked. It requires 2 keys.
What are they keeping back there?
That's the beauty of a locked door. It could be anything. Monsters, treasure. Knowing our luck, it'll be a bit of both.
A token.
A badge of honor. The elves made a few of these. They'd hang them up outside their dwellings. Show their support for my
Right side, brother! Ah, frozen! What now?
I see an entrance! I hope Freya will appreciate our work here in the desert. I wonder if he knows how poorly this realm has fared in his absence.
Aye. Hearing the Song of the Sands again is a rare privilege, even if it's only a solo act.
Or a duet, once this Hofgufa is free. This architecture. It is not of the Dark Elves.
An abandoned ancient settlement by the looks of it. Built long before the Lightwell's creation.
More hive matter as well.
I'd say we're on the right track.
This kind of hive material is sensitive to sound. How odd. When I last came here with you and Atreus, I assumed the absence of Alfheim's light was an aberration. I didn't realize it was covered with hive metal.
Aye. And as far as the Dark Elves are concerned, it's that light column in the center of the temple that's the aberration. Just look at how old some of these surfaces are. Far older than the Lightwell, or even our trapped Halfgiffer for that matter.
That's quite the empathetic perspective, Mimir.
Well, dangle from a burly god's backside for a few winters, and you'll find yourself looking for all sorts of new perspectives.
More high, but denser. Too thick for that. Maybe the Twilight Stone on the ground will help. Well, there you go.
Enemies to your left! Enemies to your left!
Cover! The wee bastard's about to explode! Left flank!
Come on, Kratos, get up!
Watch your leg!
Yelpa!
Brother, that group's trying to fast on high! Watch your leg!
Yelpa!
don't often travel underneath the barrens, do they?
Territory changes hands often in Alfheim. Or so it appears.
Big Bear did mention that these ruins have historical significance for the Light Elves. I assume they're only here to keep intruders out.
Well, at least they tried.
I suspect the corpse below would disagree.
Look there. That hide doesn't like sound, remember?
Good eye. Let's continue, shall we? Up above! Poison!
I hope freeing these half-goofers will allow them to read again. It was a dazzling display once. The skies of Alfheim filled with their song.
I imagine it's the lack of fresh light that's caused this pair to grow abnormally large. No use in having babies if there's nothing for them to feed on.
Trying to protect their children from a harsh world. I can relate. I wonder if these two comprehend the choice they face once freed.
What choice do you speak of?
The life cycle of the Hofgufa. In order to breed, they must pass on their light to their children.
And without light, they will die.
I suppose that's all any of us can hope for in the end. That our death has purpose. That we can live on through our children. Well, given another chance, I know what choice I will make. Good. Almost there. Well done. Time to set it loose.
Aye, back to the surface then.
A pipe.
Used in many of Freya's blessings, I imagine. That's all my brother's tributes.
Do you prefer we hang on to them?
Do what you will. If Freya didn't bother taking them when he left Alfheim, he wouldn't mind us selling them to the dwarves.
The fate of these creatures reminds me of a story.
Does it?
There once was a blacksmith whose king commanded him to construct a box that could contain all the evils of the world. But no metal could hold such a power. So the blacksmith used the flame.
Kratos, is this a story meant to ease my grief?
Perhaps it is just a story. A way to pass the time.
I appreciate the sentiment, but, well, your stories,
What about my stories?
I wouldn't exactly call them a comfort.
Fair. Mimir is the better storyteller.
Now, don't sell yourself short, brother. You've come a long way from the days of laconic fables.
It's okay. Finish your story, Kratos.
The blacksmith's daughter was the key to unlocking the box. He died trying to protect her from those who opened it.
Well, at least it's a relatable story.
It appears we've overstayed our welcome in Alfheim. Yet again.
Time to end this storm.
If my stories are of no comfort, take solace in knowing you did what you thought was best for your son's safety. Even these creatures know. There is little choice for a parent. You are not alone.
I'm not, am I? And now neither are they.
The Song of the Sands. Wow. Didn't know I could get misty. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Kratos. This land sings once more. We've done good here.
No rush to leave yet, is there? Who knows what kind of adventures await us in our freshly lit barrens?
A statue of my brother. How quaint.
That's odd. The runes are dark.
What purpose does all this serve, other than a testament to my brother's vanity?
Difficult to say without an inscription. But it looks like the elves built this place together, light and dark. Which means this would have been their first act of cooperation in generations. A far cry from lasting peace, but perhaps it served as a monument. One that symbolizes the potential for peace.
You may have survived Freya's absence, but a truce clearly did not. Monuments are useless to those who ignore their message.
He didn't create a truce through diplomacy alone. His godhood, his very presence is what healed this land and allowed peace to take root. But once he left, he had to have known what would happen.
Well, he had good reason to leave. Some jackass convinced his sister to marry a madman.
You said monuments are useless. Why restore this one?
It was hidden for some time. Perhaps now it can serve as a reminder.
Aye. Nothing reminds people of their history like chiseled, well-lit marble.
Shards glow.
Looks like we can read the inscription now as well.
The light from the crystals. It is in the sand now.
Would you look at that? Freya's gift endures after all. Or should I say, his presence?
You are not funny.
Anything illuminating?
Even when Freya was actually here, the peace was fragile. Surely a bit of extra light in the desert isn't enough to make it last.
Before I met Faye, I could not imagine a life of peace. After her death, in our travels to Jotunheim, I found peace on my own. It remains my responsibility to make it last.
Perhaps the elves will find peace again one day, even without Freya's guidance.
His presence continues to guide them, whether they realize it or not.
Perhaps we can bring these two animals back to Vanaheim, or Midgard even. Becky and Svanna could use the company. We have kennels.
It would not go well for them. Once a predator becomes accustomed to a land, it is cruel to move them.
I suppose you're right. Just seems lonely out here.
It is peaceful. We have each other. Freya, here.
A dawn bloom. You have an interest in botanicals now?
Another sleeping troll, courtesy of the dwarves.
You know, Freya loved to breed Gulan pups in Vanaheim. I wonder if these two are the descendants of the Gulan he brought there long ago.
That explains how they got to the desert. Another gift for the Dark Elves. Come on, brother. Let's have it. You mentioned you had a favourite poem from your homeland. What was it about?
A cunning general. A war over forbidden love.
I believe I've heard of this one. Did it involve a horse that was not as it appeared?
Yes. But that is
Hold
not
that
what
thought. I think it's about to get
You know, I would have beaten you
What?
earlier if Atreus hadn't been there.
Perhaps.
We could go again, find out for certain.
I would rather not.
I'll bet you wouldn't.
Looking back to your story, Freya, you were forced to grant an audience after the building of Asgard's wall, yeah?
That's right. And this mason, this giant in disguise,
His name was Hrimthur.
he just smiled to see me. And as you said, he whispered in my ear.
Set that aside for now. Come.
Ever written poetry of your own, brother?
No.
Well, ask a stupid question.
What is that?
Phantom! Rogue magic! Aim for the runic core!
Bloody hell! Look at that thing!
It's vulnerable when it glows!
Nicely done! Keep on it!
The core is weakened!
I felt that one, brother!
Attack the springs! Hurry before it recovers! Alka! Now, attack!
Well, yet another gift of Fimbulwinter, I suppose.
The magic draining out of all of us has to end up somewhere.
I wonder, how'd these two pups end up yoked to the sled?
Ever try flying in a sandstorm? I imagine Freyr showed the Dark Elves that Gulon could be trained to pull a plow. They must have found new uses for them once the sandstorm arrived. I imagine they're now bred to aid in traveling the surface.
Getting back to your story, Freya. You granted an audience to Hrimthur after he finished building Asgard's wall. What at long last did he whisper to you?
Well, he said the Aesir had killed his father, and he needed to know that one day they'd burn him. I pointed out I was Aesir now too, technically. He gave me a look, as if he somehow knew better, and continued. He said he'd built in a structural flaw behind the Asgard Realm Tower.
I knew it! How do we make use of it?
We don't. He said Surtur would know what to do. And if Surtur's approaching Asgard's wall...
Then it is already Ragnarok.
Aye, blast it. I hoped it might have given us another way.
Something is coming, and it's not happy.
Outcome! Atreus!
Your shield, brother! Use it, yeah?
It's charging!
What on earth was a drake doing back there?
Your guess is as good as mine. Imprisoning a drake. Can't decide whether to be impressed or horrified.
Either way, it is over now.
Mimir, I never asked how it felt to lose your head.
What would you have me say? Does it tickle?
Merely curious.
If you wish to derive some satisfaction from my pain, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. Kratos swung swift and true, didn't you, brother? I felt nary a scratch.
Shame. Do you regret it, Mimir?
Most likely. What are we talking about in particular?
Giving up your body?
Do I regret exchanging my life for my freedom? That's a question I ask myself every day, my lady.
What about today?
Today? Glad to be out in the world. How else could I spend such quality time with you?
Okay, okay.
Freya, I've always wondered, why was Freya so revered here so quickly upon his first arrival?
Well, to begin with, it wasn't his first arrival. Very few know this, but Freya was one of the earliest visitors to Alfheim, back in the dawn of realm travel.
Oh? Bit before my time. You tell.
We believed for a long time that all the giants had died in the flood, until one of them appeared in Vanaheim. Her name was Gerd, and she came offering to teach us the secrets of traveling between realms using Bifrost light. Freyr became immediately infatuated with her. He always yearned to wander, and along came someone who could truly show him how. So, wander they did, exploring the world tree from root to branch. But one day, it came time for Gerd to wander away.
No more for now. Focus.
Hope it's to your liking. Kratos? I'll heat up the forge. Dream of anguish. The elves would kill for this. This must be from Alfheim. Explains the, sand. Want something in particular? I am, as always, at your service. Is everything all right? Oh, those are just your faces.
Hello, Sindri.